Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the BBC Spews Live. What's the date? It's the 19th of June. Huzzah. I hope you had a good weekend. Well, I did. I had a good weekend reading the pure, unmitigated shite coming out of the BBC. That party video was cringe, wasn't it? Absolute cringe. Jesus Christ. The people that run our country are the most cringe, uncool, insufferable, middle-class, student managerial wankers that you could ever possibly hope to meet. The state of them all. And the Labour Party's somehow even worse. It is a very, very difficult thing for a working class man to realise that when 50 rich families ran everything, everything was better. We had our chance. Do you know when we got our chance? When Blair turned up? That was when the people started running shit. And since then, we've had 30 years of fucking cringe. Cringe. Is it not embarrassing? I don't care who you are, working class arseholes like me. I don't care where you are, where you're from, how much money you've got. Don't tell me that some posh twat who reads all the time, like Jacob Rees-Mogg, who can actually string a sentence together, and when they just drop gotcha questions on him, he somehow knows everything because he's a boring bastard. He's been groomed for command his whole life. Don't tell me he'd have done a worse job if it was him and like 10 of his poshest mates than Lisa Nandy. I mean, seriously, Angela fucking Rayner and all these conservative blue Labour twats. I hate them. I hate them because they've made me face the mirror and realise that we are the ones who fucked it all up. It's us, the working classes, the middle classes, the people, fucked it all up. Just seriously, get some old twat, Disraeli and all them fuckers, all the old money bastards, put them in charge to do a better job of it. It's cringe. It's embarrassing. Anyway, who's in? Loads of yous. I'm not name dropping everyone it is. Fucking loads of you win. Obviously, you had a shit weekend and you need some cheering up. Colin Waters is in from Geordieland now then. Scottish people with the brains bashed out. We used to say that about Geordies when I was a kid. And frankly, I think people from Middlesbrough do a worse account of themselves on television. Because they do it on purpose, don't they? I've told you, whenever they put anyone from Middlesbrough in front of a camera, they're an absolute plank. They must stand outside the Riverside Stadium, wait until they see a cyclops or a mutant with webbed feet. When they see Quasimodo shuffling along, they go, get him, put him in front of the camera. So, I mean, we can't take the piss, can we? We can't. Just can't take the piss out of Geordies, Buckyangers or anyone else. Danny Ashton, Kate, thanks for moderating, Slim. Alan Lloyd, Scouse Mouse, Ragnar's in, Bellissimo, Top Notch Cup of Tea, that's a good name. Online Killer, Dave Parker, Rob Centre, Whiskey Straight Al, I'm glad you're doing better. Sergeant Traz, Burt, Baldo, Mark Tomo, Thompson, Nick Yak, Davy Boy the Codhead, Catherine, Trinity, Sergeant Traz. Fucking hell, it is packed today. You boring bastards. Ted in England, Terry Woodford, Brian Jones, Paul and Paul Flint. Anyone else? Sorry, there's just too many of you to get a name drop these days. I guess Susan's took a knee off. She's slowly withdrew a nutsack from my. She slowly withdrew a knee from my nutsack. Because apparently there's a lot of people in there. And resistant Geordie kipping in a truck in Scotland. I love that. Fuck them. Anyway, here, how bad is this? Shall we watch it? I'm sure most of you have watched it, but if you mercifully didn't, because you've got more important things to do and you've actually got a social life, prepare to cringe so hard your neck snaps. You'll do it. I was like The Exorcist watching this video. It was like all the way around. What? Look at these fucking knobheads.
This video of a party has been published by the Sunday Mirror. There's dancing, drinking, Christmas hats, and a karaoke machine blinking away in the background. It's happening in Conservative Party headquarters in London, and the date is December 2020. Now, at the time, COVID restrictions banned people from socialising indoors except for with their household or a support bubble. You can see signs on the wall telling people to keep their distance. Now, at one point in the video, somebody suggests it might not be within the rules. We did already know about this party, and that's because a photo from it was published.
Although interesting, you know what the BBC, look at that. That's all of the knobheads together. Oh, God. And the little, oh, we've got hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. You can tell they're a bunch of middle-class wankers because who was that? I've been to loads of parties. All the parties I go to, there's 400 different types of can and bottle and Monster Munch. Like, that's a good party. This shit, I don't even know what it is. What is that? Something that green shouldn't be next to booze. I don't even know what it is. But look at the state of them. And you know another thing about them? They always have the token black man in there now, don't they? Because they're always insufferable middle-class white people that are woke. And they always have a token black. They're never in the majority. It's just like, oh, yes, we'll get a black chap in here. Yes, that'll do. And when you act like that, you are the racist one. It's like the BBC. I shit you not, I'm not making this up. I was watching the BBC I was living in York at the time, so it must have been about 10 years ago. I was watching the BBC, and this is when they just started getting proper woke. And every time you turned the BBC on, it was like a black bloke or, you know, a woman with a headscarf on or what have you. You never just saw like a normal 30-year-old white geezer in the broom cupboard, did you? Well, except for old Schofield. We know what he got up to in the broom cupboard, the mucky little bastard. Yeah, Gordon the Gopher wasn't the only one with a hand up his arse in the broom cupboard. That was happening to quite a lot of blokes, yeah, getting all 4 fingers in there. So we all know what went on in the broom cupboard. But I swear to God, I'm not making it up, and I'm sure some train spotter in the comments will even know a name. But I remember seeing it, and for once, instead of a black bloke or a Chinese woman or whatever, there was a white lass, like a blonde-haired girl on there. And I was like, oh, that's nice. At least I've hired someone who looks normal. And then she held her hand up and she had a stump, right? I shit you not. Now, I'm not having a pop. Obviously, you can't help it if you've got a disability. But what I'm getting at is, when they're doing it on purpose, it is sort of prejudiced. Because normal people like me who were raised in the 80s and the 90s, we were told not to see it. yeah, it wasn't Abu Hamza. I mean, it's just as likely you're going to get Abu Hamza on the BBC. But no, she didn't have a hook. She had a fucking stump. I swear down. So I thought, oh, nice one. Normal. And the next thing, stump. And the kids at home must have been like, fucking hell. You don't need to tot them up. If you like totting them up, you are prejudiced yourself because you're just using them like the token black man in the room full of middle-class Tory wankers, aren't you? You can imagine like the director being there and like, because I remember seeing like CBeebies come on. It was like a black man, a Chinese woman, and an Arab, right? It's like the director's sitting there because that's not an ethnic makeup of the UK that could happen mathematically by just sheer chance. If you just stopped in the street and have grabbed the first 2 men and woman that walked past you, coming out of Waitrose, it wouldn't look like that. So the fact that they're like totting them up proves that they're obsessed with this ridiculous ideology. And you can just imagine the director being someone like this knobhead with the Christmas jumper on. Director being someone like that, he's got like a half a headset on, right, and a clipboard. And he's like, get me another Chinaman. Like they must be counting them. Like it's the first thing they notice. Actually liberal people like me, you don't even notice it. Like you don't think about it. If I go to a party and I walk in and there's 4 or 5 blokes there, and they go, all right, Matty, and I go, all right, lads, how you doing? I don't go, Arab, Chinaman, yeah, looks like to be North African. Yeah, do the matter. Quick, get me another kitchen sink in here. You don't do it, do you? The fact that the BBC are obsessed with it shows that they're the ones that are A, prejudiced, and B, fucking insane. They're obsessed with it. So, yeah, don't even start me on the laundry list of physical abnormalities you'll see on the break. If you turn it on next week and you don't see Rocky Dennis reading a story to the kids, Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like that, reading them a story, slothette, like sloth but with pigtails, and then Tubby Tin Can, and all the kids are like, Jesus, like it's shocking, really. Like I just think it's baffling that they're the ones who think they're being like moral and liberal They call themselves, the bootneck is a liberal. If you know the meaning of the word, it's not a dirty word. But Americans, lexicons took over the whole world, and now you should be embarrassed if you call yourself a liberal. I'm socially liberal, conservative, sort of centrist chap, really. But now, oh my God, I'd rather. Is there anything more embarrassing than calling yourself a liberal now? Now that the American dictionaries took over the world, I'd rather tell you I was a sex offender than a liberal. Someone says to me, "Are you a liberal?" I go, sex offender. Yeah. No, not me. I wasn't being liberal that day. I was wanking outside of primary school. I was wiping Ian Huntley's ass. It wasn't me. I was busy. I was sending Jimmy Savile a Christmas card. Anything sounds better than telling people you're a liberal now. Because basically it means you're completely off your box, off your tits. Shit libs. Yeah, that's a better word for them. It's got a nice ring to it. But it's cringe the way these wankers act. So, briefly, I don't want to pour over the video anymore because it's shit. The BBC obviously doesn't make any mention. They're just having a pop at these insufferable, wonky-faced, woke conservatives. In fact, I'm not going to keep it there because look at the state of him. He's just got one of them faces you'd never get tired of slapping. These chiselers and him doing his career laugh there. See his mate doing his career laugh. The worst joke ever, but it's a career laugh. So he's thinking, oh, you are a card, Benjamin. What a twat. Let's get off that. I don't want to stare at it. Oh, God. I was trying to avoid you having to stare at that. And now he's on the albino jellyfish. Let's just go down a bit. There we go. That'll do. I can rant. I can deal with the white woman. You don't see many of them on the BBC. It's ludicrous, the situation we're in. And the video was cringe to the point where I physically nearly did a 360 on my head, nearly did a 360. But the one thing you have to be aware of is that it's the point I made all along. And obviously it's not a defense of the cringing blue Labour, but everybody in a position of authority broke the rules. 99% of them. This is the point I was making when I was doing videos about this shit 3 years ago, when I was insane with incandescent with rage. Because as you all remember, do you remember the time it was about, what was it, over 3 years ago now, when they first put the lockdown in? And I was stuck in a shitty little apartment and the gyms were closed. And all I had to do for exercise, there was a 5-story car park across the road from my house. And every fucking day, I was forcing myself to go up and down them stairs 50 times because I had nothing else to do. And it was driving me mad. And every time I slightly calmed down, I remember those cunted stairs. And it makes me want to rip my own head off in a rage and then beat Boris Johnson to death with it. It's shocking what they did. But all of them did it. So I don't ever want this to sound like I'm defending Boris. Oh, God, even saying his name now, I want to kill him because I voted for him. I voted for the fat, slimy, lying, albino jellyfish, walk, horrible shitbag, right? And it's worse than just ignoring them. It's worse. Because when you actually believe that they're going to stupidly, I've learnt my lesson, stupidly, in the naivety of youth, 3.5 years ago, you think that they're going to do what they say, and it makes you hate them more than the people who never said it. Like at this point, I think I hate him more than Keir Starmer, because at least Keir Starmer never pretended to be something that he isn't. So I am in no way defending Boris Johnson. I hate him. And I've told you, the Bootneck tells the truth. I don't need to practice this false humility that all the scumbag, lying, ratbag, weasel, fucking rat piss, vermin politicians do. I don't need to lie. Those people always say, oh, thoughts and prayers, while they secretly will rape you till you're dead, right? That's how sneaky they are. I don't need to do that. Excuse me. So I'm happy to concede that if Boris found a particularly hard lump growing on his testicles, I would laugh. That is how much I hate him at this point. It would make me chuckle. The bloke is truly detestable. But every single one of them didn't follow the rules, because we're living in this society where the elites, which again is hilarious in and of itself, isn't it? The elites, useless, incompetent, managerial twats who couldn't run a piss up in a brewery, and we call them the elites. That's like calling the Special Boat Service average and the Oklahoma National Guard elite. They aren't. They're not elite. But the people who happen to be in power, none of them followed the rules. And this is why you have to take it with a pinch of salt and despise them for the reasons that they deserve rather than the reasons the media is telling you. Because I hope I've done in the last 6 minutes ranting about how much I despise these people. You don't think that I'm sticking up for them. But what I'm saying to you is, logically, remember, just do your best to think back, because the media don't want to talk about it anymore. All of them broke the rules. Neil Fergatwat was off fingering his mistress, right? Keir Starmer had a massive pie. There was at least 30 people there having a curry. Getting pissed in a curry house with 30 blokes isn't a work meeting. In fact, there was more of them there than there was at that Tory party by the look of it, right? Because there was only about 25 of them there. So they all did it. Keir Starmer did it. Dawn Butler did it. Diane Abbott did it. All of the newsreaders did it. Don't you remember? That Kay Burley and all them other knobheads off Sky and the Sky News, and they all did it. And the BBC all did it. And the Guardian readers all did it. And Channel 4 all did it. And the Labour and the Greens and the SNP and the Lib Dems, and all of them. So don't for a minute take any of that as a defence of our slimy, lying, weasel, ratbag, woke, not conservative politicians. But it's all of them. So this is just nonsense. And also, it's massive. I've got a bit of a cold. I'm coughing. Hang on, I'll have a swig of tea. You can tell that this is all bollocks, but the thing is, the BBC's concentrating on it because they're playing this political game. The thing that I'd say is, what does it matter that the BBC, they seem to me to be doing the very definition of flogging a dead horse here. Because I'm sure everybody in the chat, I'm willing to wager 9 out of 10 people in the chat. You can tell me if you disagree. So I've got a good sample size. There's 402 people. Who in here intends to vote for the Conservative Party? And I would assume that most people in here probably 4 or 5 years ago did vote for them. Because I voted for Boris Johnson, and I've told you twats for the last 3 years, ever since the lockdowns went on for longer than about 3 months, I am not voting for them. I think about 2 years ago, I put my hand on my heart and I said, I'm not voting for them. I would rather see the commies in Downing Street than vote for people that told me they said, the referendum, post-referendum, the Brexit manifesto published by this fat, slimy, jellyfish albino twat. I'm not voting for them. I'd rather see Keir get in than rape my principles, stake my principles to the floor and roger them with a prize-winning leak. I would rather see Keir fucking Starmer get in Downing Street than the fat albino jellyfish. So, as I said back in the day, I told you like years ago this was what was going to happen. And I told you Labour were going to win by a landslide. Everything I've said 3 years ago is exactly what's transpiring. Because Davy Boy is, I guess, one of the few slightly keeping faith in them. It's not going to happen. I said this years ago, and this is what's transpiring. The Conservatives will not win the next election. They will get absolutely hammered because I think at the time I said about 15%, 20% of the Conservative voters will refuse to vote for them. It's looking like people are so angry that it's going to be higher than that. So I'd get as far as 25%. Maybe 25% of the Conservative voters won't vote for them. So it's going to be the biggest whitewash possibly since after the Second World War. It's going to be an absolute butchery for the Conservatives. You might even see stalwarts like the aforementioned Rees-Mogg and the like not win the seats because 20 to 25% of the core Conservative vote is going to not turn out for them. They're going to go for third party. They're going to go for Reform or UKIP if it pops up or anything other than the Conservatives. And in a first past the post electoral system like the UK has, if 20% of your voters don't turn out for you, you are fucking done. Done. Like, just look at the numbers. In any general election, if 20% of them voters do not turn out for you, you are fucking toast. Because we do have an adversarial system in the UK. Labour and Conservative are almost always within a couple of thousand of each other. And if 20 to 25% of those votes suddenly disappear, you're toast. So the Labour are going to win by an absolute landslide, and the Tories are totally shagged. And this is what I predicted years ago. Enough people would switch off, refuse to vote Conservative, so that all the normies, because obviously people who go on YouTube and get all of the media from third parties like YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, people who listen to Joe Rogan and are actually aware of what's going on, basically alternative media. There's not enough of us to really affect change and get a party in that we want, but there is enough for us to totally shit the bed for the Conservatives. So what's going to happen is about 20, 25% will abandon them, but then enough mainstream Conservatives might finally wake the fuck up. I mean, the mainstream media will do the best to obfuscate and just say, oh, that was weird. Wonder what happened there. Instead of saying, yeah, a quarter of your base has gone to third parties because the Conservatives are woke. And basically, you're going to need at least 4 years of Labour, maybe eight, for the normies to abandon the Conservative Party and actually get behind Reform. Best case scenario, you might get like Reform or one of the other parties, maybe win a seat or two if enough people turn out for them. But it's not going to be in time. Too many normies will need to live under a Labour government before they realise that we've all completely abandoned the Conservative Party. And as I said, I voted for them. I'm sure a majority of you did. No longer. So they are seriously in the shit. And what else have I been telling you? Fucking stock up, because 4 years of Labour is going to be a right pain up the arse. If you haven't got a few 24-hour ration packs stashed in the garage, you might want to think about doing it. Because if you think the Tories were bad, wait till them boys take over. Which reminds me, yes, I have got a cold. That's why I keep coughing my guts up. Look at this photo off Twitter. I mean, fuck me. It's cringe. This is what you're getting. Neatly summed up in one picture. That's your next government. Look at the fucking clip of this lot, right? Now, obviously, they've picked the best photos for comedy effect. But, I mean, if there is a better example of these shit-for-brain sort of managerial twats that I'm talking about that are complete, the very essence of a midwit, right? These people that are no more smart than you or I, but are actually worse than us at running things because they're obsessed with power and they are convinced that the genius is. Like, that is the real problem of this managerial class that we've got in charge. Now, all of them are midwits, but they have that terrifying mixture. It's coupling those two. It's coupling stupidity with arrogance. And that is the real problem here. None of the people in that picture are any cleverer than you. If you get your average, average run-of-the-mill IQ plumber or milkman, he is as sensible and as capable at running things as fucking that Chinny McChinnison there. We all know the Bootneck doesn't like Emily Thornberry. Look at the fucking clip of that human zeppelin with a little stars around the neck. She is a clown. Absolute plank. And she's so fat, when she cuts her legs shaving, marshmallow foam comes out. She looks like a sumo wrestler there. With them beady eyes like a shithouse rat. Piss holes in the snow, 10 chins, and fucking just a quivering blancmange of a woman. I'd rather have a bricklayer. So I'm serious. You could replace all them with plumbers, bricklayers, and bus drivers that do a better job. Because plumbers, bus drivers, and bin men that actually think, I'm going to struggle here. You know, if you get like a joiner, he'll go, here, I'm going to struggle with this. Like, I'm new to politics. So you know what I'm going to do? I'll do a risk assessment. I'll go on ChatGPT and I'll ask you questions like, what do you think are the 5 most important things to do in administration if you're running a large business or even a nation? And it might give me some straws in the wind. And then I'll download like an AS9100 pack or a quality control pack, what you'd use like a massive corporation. And I'll do things like keep a lot of notes and records, and I'll do a checklist of all the things we need to do. And I'll fill out a risk assessment form, and I'll keep track of that. And because you'd be like unsure and you'd be concerned if you were a plumber or a bricklayer or a bus driver, you'd actually tick every box and do your due diligence and say, I'm going to really do my best not to fuck this up. And instead, we get all of these twats. I mean, Diane Abacus is thick. Like, most of them are just midwits, but the likes of Diane Abacus are actually thick. Angela Rayner seems thick as well when she talks. Al Foxpit, she seems a bit thick. And they don't have they've got the arrogance that the bus driver doesn't have. So they don't think, I'm going to be methodical. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to have a list. I'm going to do a risk assessment. They just fucking do shit. They go, yeah, do it. Do it. Fuck it. Do it. They don't think, hang on, if I do X, what are the long-term ramifications? Do you know what I mean? Which is what any normal human would do. Like you go, like these woke Tories. If we let 1 million twats in 1 year, maybe they'll need somewhere to live. There's a basic risk assessment, right? You go, what do we want to do? Let in 1 million people. Have a whiteboard. Right, plumber. I want to let in 1 million people to sort out this labour crisis. What do we think's going to go wrong? Plumber. They all need somewhere to live. Good one. Need to build some houses. What else? Bricklayer. Some of them might be criminals because we can't vet them. Oh, yes. Some of them might want to donkey one into a teenager's arsehole on the way to the shops. Yeah. Better write that one down. Build more prisons. Hire more coppers. Castrate the bastards. No. Sorry, Bootneck. You're not invited to this meeting. Scrub that last one off. Scaffolder. What else can go wrong? Do you see what I'm saying? They don't fucking do it. These people are so obsessed with their own, huffing their own farts is not a term I like to use. It's like very, I don't know, infantile. I don't use that term. The Americans use it a lot. But it's believing their own legends. They surround themselves with yes men. Never meet a naysayer. If you're a naysayer, you get sacked. So they surround themselves with yes men and they convince themselves of their own high IQs and they just crack on and blah, blah. It's just verbal diarrhea. Do that. Let's do it all. Like Tony Blair. Oh, that ancient institution that's been there for centuries and provides a vital safeguard. Fuck it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Oh, that law's a bit annoying. Change it. What? But it's been there 800 years, my lord. Fuck it. Who needs it? Get rid of it. Get rid of that. Change that. Rip that rulebook up. I'll fix it. Fucked everything up. This is who's going to be in charge. Absolute plank. Yvette Cooper is an absolute She's got the IQ of a fucking oyster, right? Yvette Oyster. That should be her name. David Lamtron Lammy. Lamtron. You all know why I call him Lamtron. You are losing the battle of your life, Lamtron. I wouldn't let him run a fucking bath. I wouldn't trust David Lammy to walk the fucking dog. If you said to David Lammy, take the border terrier around the block, David, he'd go, yeah, and it would be under a steamroller. He'd find one. Fuck knows where the steamroller's got. Lamtron would find it. He'd come back 3 minutes later with a lead. Steamroller incident. Where did that come from? Yeah. They're so inept that they can somehow find ways to fuck things up that I wouldn't even be able to imagine. The scaffolder, right? He wouldn't even be able to think of ways to fuck things up like these people will. So there's the oyster. Who else? Who else is shocking on there? Oh, yeah, there she is. Annalise Dodds. That's second from top left. Annalise Dodds. Fucking olive oil there. Annalise Dodds. Oh, and then there's ones that I made a video about. Do you remember the video I made about? It wasn't Lisa Nandy. Who was it now? Who did the was it Annalise Dodds? No, I can't even. She's not even on there. So we've got, who was the one who I made the video about? Where she went, where the LBC radio host said to her, totally forget. I made so many videos about these people. Where the LBC radio host said to her, can a woman have a penis? And she went, and sounded like she was getting bum raped. Do you remember? I don't even know who that was. I don't know. Someone will tell me in the chat. Raina, Fox Piss, Millipede. Don't start me on Millipede. Millipede just looks like, it doesn't, he's just got like no definition in his face at all, and he's got them Uncle Fester fucking eyes. It's like a thumb with a face screw on and a wig, and Uncle Fester. He just like photoshopped Fester's eyes onto a thumb. That's Millipede. Right, they're just, all of them are shocking. So I don't even want to talk about them anymore. This is who you're getting, right? So I'm labouring the point because you need to prepare. Yeah, you need to take a leaf from your American friend's book and start preparing, because when this fucking abortion, this human abortion takes over the country, everything's going tits up, right? You think you're in the shit because your mortgage has gone up? Try drinking out of a puddle for 6 months, because that's what you get. These fucking numbskulls are going to make Paris, in the middle of a 3-month bin man strike, it's going to make Paris look nice. If you live in somewhere like Grimsby and you haven't had your bins emptied for 2 weeks, it basically looks like Iraq after we dropped $45 billion worth of munitions on it. Because places like Grimsby look shit anyway. If the bins don't get emptied for a fortnight in Grimsby, because think about it, at least Paris has some va-va-va-vu. If the bins don't get emptied in Grimsby, you might as well live inside a giant arsehole. If the jolly green giant walks past, crawl up his leg and clamber in and fucking take your sleeping bag, because I'd rather live inside the jolly green giant's arsehole than go to Grimsby when the bins haven't been emptied for 2 weeks. So it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. Total numbskulls are going to be running the country. You need 6 months worth of dry rations in your garage, at least. You need some form of water filtration device. Yeah. You something sharp. Yeah. Whatever weapons you can legally get your hands on in the UK. You want them. You want them. What else? Medical supplies. Basically, you need to sort your shit out, because it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Trust me. That's just brilliant. Every single one of them, and most of them are actually cabinet, right? You do realise that the shadow cabinet is most. They're not. I haven't just picked the thickest politicians there. Angela Rayner and Annalise Dodds and Rachel Reeves. That's the one. Rachel Reeves. Somehow she's not even on there. Rachel Reeves is thick as shit. These are the people you get. This is the cabinet. I haven't just picked the thick ones. These are the creme de la creme. These are the form that floats to the top of the barrel of piss. That is the Labour Party. If the Labour Party is a fucking barrel of piss, this is the foam that rises to the top. The human marshmallow and fucking Uncle Fester and Lambtron and Rafe fucking Ginger Fox piss and the coup de grace, Annalise Dodds and Abacus. It's going to be an absolute shambles. So, yeah, prepare yourselves. Anyway, I've shot my bolt slagging off the Labour Party. I've shot my bolt. What else have I got? We just have a quick look at the BBC website, shall we? What is it? Titanic tour firm exploring all. Oh shit! Yeah, this looks bad, man. This looks bad. I'll tell you what I'll say about this. I know I'm going to sound like a miserable old bastard here, but I've told you a lot this. I did loads of travelling in my 20s, my 30s, and what I realised as I pushed into my 40s was that sitting on Google, right, with a cup of tea, and reading some lengthy Wikipedia page and looking at HD photographs of places in the world is actually better than going to the places. There's 3 reasons I can give you why this is true, right? So let's say you've got the choice to go to the pyramids, or you can sit at home and look at 4K video and pictures and read about the pyramids. Someone in the chat, tell me, what would you rather do? If you disagree with me, tell me, and then I will explain why you're definitely wrong. Yeah. So you've got an all expenses paid trip to Luxor, and you can go and walk up the pyramids and go on a camel. Yeah. Or you can have 500 quid's worth of tea, milk, and sticky buns, and you can stay at home and have 2 weeks paid off work. What would you pick? Because let me tell you, have you ever been to Luxor? A mate of mine went there, right? He said one of the things that the foul-smelling, pot-bellied savages that roam around the pyramids do is they get a massive camel, and they aren't small animals if you've never seen a camel. And they stand there and they say, you wish for camel? Yes. And you go, yeah, how much? How many flip-flops? Whatever the currency is. And they say, oh, yeah, like they say, 200. And then they get you up there. And they get your missus up there. And then when you're both up on the camel, and it's pretty high, yeah, especially if you're a fat 60-year-old American tourist, when you're up there, they'll walk you down for 5 minutes and then go, all right, come down now. And then when you go on, then let me down. He goes, 6,000 flip-flops. And you go, hang on, you said 200. And he goes, no, 6,000 flip-flops. And then literally, they won't let you off the fucking camel unless you just hand over all your belongings. So my mate, fortunately, he went when he was 28, he was a bootneck, simply leapt off the camel, landed elbow first on the pot-bellied savage's fucking skull, and then proceeded to strangle him while the camel looks on, thoroughly nonplussed, thinking, yeah, he twats me all the time, that horrible cunt. So yeah, next thing, elbow drop him, bastard. This is what's going to happen here when you go to Egypt. Now, and if you're not a young bootneck and you can't do a flying elbow drop from a great height, you might find yourself in trouble, right? So there's reason number 1. 2, don't even try to go for the shite in Egypt. Don't even try. Things will crawl up there. If you're female, a bloke will probably try and crawl up there. There's no bog roll. There's more flies. That reminds me of a Chubby Brown joke. He said, I can't remember what nationality he used, Chubbs. He said something like, oh, yeah, we went to we'll say Egyptian. I went to an Egyptian wedding on the weekend. He said, oh, the food was terrible. The cake was made out of pure fucking shit. Still, it kept the flies off the fucking happy couple. Chubbs, I love him. Anyway, that's a beauty. Flies everywhere, right? Pure shit. The food is shit. Sex pests, rapey bastards, and tea leaves everywhere you go. And then the information isn't even that good. And you see it through your Mark 1 eyeball that isn't very good. Because have you noticed that? When you watch 4K footage on like Netflix or something like that, it actually looks better than when you go somewhere. Like I've seen footage on like of the Matterhorn. There's one. I've been up the Matterhorn, right? You see it on the telly and it looks way better than when you actually go. I don't know what it is. The camera might just work better. Like, do a nice slow exposure and it's a high definition Sony lens and you've got a Gucci 4K TV. When you see the Matterhorn and watch a video about it and all these aerial flights by drones and shit, it is way better than doing what I did, which is me and my two mates hungover, walk up the bastard with plastic bags around our feet and then feel like a twat, take a photo and come back down again. It's a bit shit. So basically, I'm trying to tell you, anywhere that is anywhere near the third world, you're best off just staying in your fucking house and reading about it. And to take me to the story, after pinching Chubby's joke, these poor bastards are probably going to expire in a tube at the bottom of the sea because they had this insane desire to go and see the fucking Titanic. Just think about what I've just explained to you. How good would it be actually sitting on there, bored shitless, going down, 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 and then you're looking with like torches or the lights on the side of the submersible, and you're like, oh yeah, there you are, trying to see that. It's shit. It's shit. Go on YouTube, watch some 4K documentary about the Titanic. Fuck it, watch Titanic. Other than the love story part, that was actually a superb recreation of the Titanic. But people now are obsessed with going on social media and pausing for a picture and going, look what I did. I went down to see the Titanic. Well, you can do it from your armchair. And then you're not going to suffocate to death in a metal tube 10,000 feet below fucking sea level. So I'm just trying to save you lads the hassle. It's shit. When you've got some time off, I mean, maybe bootnecks have got a unique view of this, because like when I was doing things I didn't want to do, like mountain training or walking across Dartmoor with piss wet through with no fucking sleep, I'd see people with the Carrymore backpacks and the Berghaus jackets and I'd think, what a sad bastard. Ever since I retired from the Corps, I do not do nature. I went round Salt Lake and there was more flies than the aforementioned Egyptian wedding, right? It was shit. We walked around the Salt Lake for half an hour and then I went, you know what? Fuck this. And I went back to the brewery and we went on a pub crawl, and in the middle of it, I had a sandwich from an Italian deli, like meatballs and shit, and a tiramisu. It was, That's how you should use your time off. So if any of you twats are listening and I haven't won you over, I don't know what else to tell you. But trust me, they sell you the idea of travelling to these third world shitholes because they're trying to sell a package. They're getting paid for it. If it's not in Western Europe or a former British colony like Canada or America or Australia or New Zealand, don't go. Don't go. You don't need to see the Titanic with your fucking eyeballs. You can look at all the HD pictures and watch a few documentaries and read a few books, and you'll know 10 times more and you'll see 10 times more than you would see by sitting in the tube, peering out the fucking window with eyes like piss holes in the snow, and then, if you're lucky, surviving to tell the tale. And nobody cares. This is the big one. Nobody cares. They think people care. They don't. Everybody's too busy. Nobody goes on Facebook and says, you in the tube, look at me, stuffed in a tube with two fat people. Oh, I'm jealous as fuck. Ugh, envy. Nobody cares. Everyone's too busy. Nobody cares about your selfies. Nobody's interested. You don't seem like you're a better person because you've seen the Titanic with your own eyes. Women aren't going to shag you. Blokes aren't going to drill you. Whatever it is you're doing it for. Doesn't impress anyone. So stay home, read it. Knowledge impresses people. If you read a big, thick book about the Titanic and you can spin some dits about it in the pub, that'll impress people. Wow, he knows loads of him. What a clever bastard. But if you stuff yourself in a tube and get stuck and expire 10,000 feet below sea level, well, you're a bit of a fucking idiot. And that's that, right? Don't go to Egypt. I know people who've gone on holiday to India. The amount of people, Turkey, British people go on holiday to Turkey. I'd rather go to Redcar, 2 weeks in Redcar. Do you know how many British people go missing in Turkey? Pinch the passport and their identity. You know how many British women get fingered in Turkey? If you're under the age of 40 and you manage to walk through Turkey, through a major Turkish city, without getting your piss flaps forcibly interjected by a burly man's calloused fingers, you're a fucking, hey, you must be a fast walker. You must be like Forrest Gump, doubling through the town so just don't do it. India, Turkey, Pakistan, Egypt, Morocco. People go hiking in Morocco. Oh, we're going to go see the foothills of Morocco. Well, listen, when someone's sticking his dirty fingernails up your fucking hoop because you thought it was a good idea to go hiking in Morocco, remember these words. It's shit. When you're on holiday, you go, nice beaches, pina coladas, Western Europe, first world, that's it. Fuck them all off. Don't go anywhere near them. India, Pakistan, Turkey, Morocco, Algeria, places people go on holiday. It genuinely staggers me. When I'm around in the pub back home, I'm always astounded. Like, sat having a pint and then Dave comes in. Oh, I've been on holiday. Where did you go? Morocco. Oh, really? Are you a fucking idiot? Morocco. Seriously, I'd rather go to Aberdeen. Algeria. People are fucking lunatics. Anyway, that's nearly an hour. You can have that for now. I'm done. There's my travel advice for the day as well. Political and travel advice. Maybe I should start a travel channel. I'll make a documentary, but I won't be going anywhere that smells like shit. All right? Right. Thanks for watching. Have a good week. I'll make some content and we'll probably see you all this time next week. All right? I'm not doing one tomorrow because I've coughing my guts up. Okay, have a great week. Keep your chins up. Like I said, if nothing else, it is funny. It is funny how shit the UK is going to look. And the whole time, the mainstream media is telling us it's fucking brilliant. Like people like us that can objectively remember with our own brains what the 80s and the 90s looked like. And in 2025, when everything's on fire and everyone's starving to death, and you can't go 3 minutes without seeing someone masturbating on a bus or a tube or trying to rub one out on your ass. All the mainstream media is going to be going, it's never been better. Never been better. Eat your cricket paste while this Arabian man has a wank. Yeah. All right, then. All right, yeah. Never been better. Cheers. Okay. See you all very soon. Have a good week. Keep laughing. See you later.